Hello, guys. Welcome back to Cloud Damage. Today, we are going to talk about a subject I think a lot of men and a lot of people I do not think truly want to understand, or it is against the general narrative, the general, I guess you would say, it's against these guys, it's against Fresh and Fit. And the reason why is because I'm going to start with this, guys. I'm going to talk about psychology from the book of, what is it called? Let's see. It is called the second edition DBT Skills Training Handouts and Worksheets by Marshall M. Lynham. So essentially, what was it? Dialectical behavioral therapy or language. Essentially, it is a manual studying psychology and how you can emotionally regulate yourself and stuff like that. Today, I'm going to discuss something that they call the wise mind. The wise mind is this: the wisdom within each person, seeing the value of both reason and emotion, and bringing left brain and right brain together, the middle path. Truly believing and understanding how both people work, how all people work, and how the world truly will work better. The biggest reason why I'm bringing this up is because, and sadly this is the only one I could really think about to kind of give an example, but I'm just gonna kind of, it's specifically this guy right here, and you'll see what I mean.
The dad can be the hero, and those 5 families live a 10x better life than they would have otherwise. Yes, ma'am, I do.
But you don't think that it will be ultimately an opportunity for jealousy or disharmony amongst
Women
two
are always going
different
to be
families?
jealous. What's changed
I'm not
about that?
jealous in
Women
my
have been jealous
marriage.
all the way through time. So
I'm not jealous in my marriage.
Well, I don't care about your marriage. I'm talking about mine. What my life is going to be. So I don't answer to you. So
All right, so if you haven't already noticed, he is a very... The reason why I'm bringing this up, guys, is because guys out there, I want you to understand something. These guys on podcast, on YouTube, who are big, who have got a lot of, who got a lot of followers, who have a lot of opinions, do not necessarily mean that they are right. Just because it works for them doesn't mean it works for you. I'm not trying to be mean, guys. I'm not. And the reason why I talk about this is because I've been watching a little bit of Abba Preach recently, because they I think have a far more better legitimate mental idea of how things work in comparison than all these men. And the reason why I talk about this, and the reason why I bring up wise mind, is because wise mind is the true nature of, we have to think about things with emotion and logic. You cannot... This man in the middle is a lot... him and a few other people, and Brian, use statistics a lot. They use a lot of statistics. A lot of men in general do, because logic. The issue is they will use that and almost only to kind of, how we say, push their ideas, to not disregard, but to kind of make their entire statements about just the statistics. The problem is humans aren't statistics. Statistics are help. Okay. The biggest thing that people need to understand when it comes to psychology in general, and a lot of statistics that come with it, statistics help give an idea, a general idea of what is happening. However, you cannot truly apply your own, or you cannot truly apply the statistics to every single individual, because with statistics, there is always going to be an outlier, a deviation, and individual experience that changes. So it's kind of like it's kind of like the same idea of, yes, there is more gang crime in the black community. I'm sorry, that is just how it is statistically. However, there was also an extreme amount of gang crime when the Irish came in and created the mob. So it just so happens now that it's just one of those things. And the reason why I bring that up is because there was a lot of gangs that were white that also did crimes, but they got away with it. And statistically, it's only now kind of culturally that the black community is being kind of seen as. And the reason why I bring that up is because specifically it's the fact of, statistics say no offense, black community seems to have a lot of crime. But you know who else has a lot of crime? White people, Hispanics, everyone. Everyone has a lot of crime. You can't, but that means you cannot go out there. I have met, and you can't go out there, use that statistic, and then look at someone and go, hey, you are part of a statistic. Your people, you can't go up, like, no offense, but I can't go up to a black person and go, your people do a lot of crime. I can't be around you, or blah, blah, blah. Because that man might go up to you and be like, what you mean? I haven't seen any in my area. And he might be telling the truth. That is kind of what is happening here, where these guys are saying a lot of ideas that are true. The statistics are true, but that doesn't mean the statistics are applicable. Also, when it comes to statistics, you have to truly be careful, because statistics do change in areas depending on how big, how small the sample size, what you actually attribute to and actually look for. You do have to truly be. There's a reason why statistics change, and statistics are usually very hard to, I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean, but I kind of hate all these. And when I say hate, I dislike all these podcasters, big people, and the reason why I brought this up is because Evan and Preach were talking about Andrew Tate. The reason why a lot of men like Andrew Tate, or I liked him too for a second, and then I looked back and I realized, I was like, oh wow, yeah, he's an asshole. He's a pimp. And the reason why and that's why a lot of people started disliking the red pill movement, or ideas. I'm sorry, I hate calling it a movement. It's an idea. The reason why is because he said facts. Men need to be strong, men need to be responsible for themselves, and men need to do things that better themselves. Those are all true statements. But then he would add stuff like, oh, but we're going to hate on women. We're going to do this, that, and the other that kind of push women down in a sense, or kind of hurt them emotionally. That is not okay. He is also absolutely described himself as a pimp. Absolutely. And that is not okay. It's funny because a lot of men thought of him as like this great man, and then they defended him, and then it comes out to say that, oh yeah, no, he actually said a lot of things and has kind of, what is the phrase? Told on himself about all the legal things he has done. A lot of things, a lot of criminal activity when it comes to essentially pimping. Because remember, it's not legal to pimp. I'm sorry, it's not. You can't go out there and make hoes, do sex work, and then give you all the money. It's not okay. But the big issue is that people are, what is the good word for it? Convoluting, or not there. Well, one, he's disingenuous, I guess is the good word of putting it. Is like, because he will say things. Everyone on YouTube are being famous because they're saying things that are true and applicable, but they're only applicable to a certain people. I'm not trying to be mean, guys, but I promise you, if you go out there to your little neighborhood and start treating women like crap, it's not going to go well for you. I promise you, it's not. Can some men get away with it? Yes. That is kind of how they are using facts. They are using applicable behaviors that could technically apply to everyone and possibly improve you, but then also adding in other things around it, kind of, muddying the waters a little bit. You can be a strong individual man. You don't have to be super emotional. You don't cry in front of a woman, stuff like that. But then they add on some things like, oh, we don't have to care about the woman's emotions and shit like that. And if you want to be a true, real man, you have to. You would understand that women do not think like men. Therefore, you can't just go up to them, manipulate them, and just be like, logic. You can't. That's not how that works. You have to go in and think, all right, obviously you don't get emotional, no offense, but then you don't also have to, you also then don't have to get super, I guess, into a situation of emotion. I don't know how to really explain it. It's just, when they're on that podcast and he's talking, there gets to a point where he's kind of being rude just for being rude's sake.
That's my answer. I'm gonna run my situation exactly how I want to, and generally, when I do that, that's when I have the most happiness, let's say, in my life. So that's all.
And you would want that for your daughters?
Yeah, yeah. I live my life unapologetically on my terms. So if my daughters that are overly spoiled and educated in every way and have friends all over the world and world traveled in the best schools in the world, if they have a problem with me at the end of the day, then they can kick rocks too. I'm not gonna simp for my daughters. I'll love them fully.
Where is it? He's about to say something
They want to
here.
get in line with me, or at least look. Here's my goal as a parent: teach my children how the world works, give them the skills so they can live on their own terms, and give them choice. If they choose not to make me part of their life after I've given them those things, I've still succeeded as a father.
But I guess I'm asking if you're comfortable answering, obviously. But are you wanting to be a role model for your kids? Is that part
A
of
thousand
your
percent, a father
See, wait,
should
give
show
me,
up in every
give me a
way for
second,
his
guys.
children. I think I'll be better than most fathers, regardless of how many children I have. I might have 100.
But you
So.
think part of being a role model, it's okay for your kids not to know even your relationship status with
Oop,
their own mom?
sorry. So that is the point that I really wanted to get into that really switches things up. So the logic behind it is that, yes, I want to be a good role model. The logic says that, okay, the logic and the facts that he is using kind of subconsciously or maybe consciously without saying them is that statistically it is better to have a father and a mother in a family. The statistics does not add in though the fact that there are multiple families with only one dad. That is never added in. I don't necessarily know the exact statistic he is using, but that is the general statistic a lot of people use. That, and I'm not gonna be wrong. It is a true statistic that yes, it is better for any family to have a father and a mother. But like I said, it does not state whether or not it is good for having multiple families with only one dad being the kind of head over everything. And her point, and see, this is where men, I think, need to really understand. Because he says, like, yeah, I'm a good role model. But he then also says that he's a man with multiple partners, when in reality, that is not necessarily the best situation to be in. For some people, it's a great situation. For others, it's not. Generally speaking, though, statistically, it is not the best. It is good to have one family, that you are the main, you're the father, there's a mother, there's children. That is the family. You can't also say you are committed necessarily to all those families, because people have priorities subconsciously to who they will love more and not, and who are lesser. So you can't truly say you are committed, because when you say that to multiple families, someone knows they are the lesser. I'm sorry, it is true. You can say whatever you want, but you can't truly love multiple people at the same time. That is not how that works. Maybe in a really weird sexual way, maybe, but you truly can't. I don't think the human brain, you truly. Now, can you technically love multiple people? Yes, but I don't think they can be at the same time. I'm not necessarily sure. That's still a part of psychology I haven't really gotten into. That is maybe my just opinion, so we'll see about that later. But regardless, she says, do you think that is a good role model for your kids? Technically speaking, the facts say that yes, it is a good role model to have a father in the household. The problem is when he says, but I'll still have multiple families and I'll be the father of all of them. That is when things start getting, they use facts and logic, but then disregard the emotional kind of stability of the children. You see what I'm saying? They kind of go, I'm using logic, I'm using facts, I'll always be a good parent. But how can you say you're a good parent if your children look at you and go, man, my dad's a man whore? He has multiple families. And he did that completely willingly. He knew what he was doing. It's what how can you say it is good for when your child grows up and says, my dad has multiple families. Yes, he loves them all, but how is that good for me? How is that a good role model when you clearly don't have a strong enough commitment to only one family? Because you can't say you love multiple people when you have four families. I don't know how you can say you love them in some kind of way, but I don't think it's true. Let's get back into it. Sorry, I'm just trying to there's words I can't use or think of to truly describe the situation.
They will know the relationship
But they're-
status with me and their mother.
But you have other relationships with other women too.
What does that have to do with anything?
But I'm just wondering if you think
I
that's a
haven't even
problem.
said that. I'm just saying, like, if I want to, I will.
But you don't think that's a problem for your daughter to know that about their dad?
See, that I think is where I am trying to get to. If you do this, you will then set an example for your kids that this is okay. When in reality, I'm just trying to say that I do not think, for the family, I do not think it is okay. When I say okay, I do not think it is beneficial for the kids to know and realize, oh, my dad or mom have like 3 other families and we're not the only ones. I do not think that is helpful. I do not think that is beneficial to society. I do not think technically that is a good role model. And the reason why is because we all want, eventually most people want families. But to come out and say, I want multiple families, is that truly beneficial to society? To grow up and teach all your families eventually that, my dad said I could have multiple families. I'm going to go around essentially be a hoe. Because then your child might come out and not want a family, but then just realize, but I can be with as many people as I want. You're not bringing in a good role, honestly. A good role model would be a single family with a father and a mother. That is statistically the best situation. The golden family? What is it called? I can't remember the official name of it, but like the golden family, father, mother, sister, or daughter and son. That is the golden family. But to have then multiple starts creating a bad look onto the man. I'm sorry, it does. If you want to have multiple girlfriends with no families, I'm not going to stop you. Is that a good ethical behavior? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I think that is detrimental to the health and mental health of all the people. And I'm not this like emotional, soppy man. I'm just saying that you have to understand women work differently. So when men say, men work differently, we're all logical. All right, then you also have to understand when you're talking to a woman, you have to understand that they will use more emotion. So you can't come out here and bombard them with just statistics and then disregard their emotional state with a subject. You can't do that. That is hypocritical. You can't come out here and be like, I'm a man, so I only use logic. So I'll only use logic with you, but you're a woman, and women are more emotional and use emotions more, and kind of a logic at the same time. So I'm only ever going to use logic with you. You can't do that. That is not how that works. You have to then, you have to compromise and try and understand how they work as well. It's funny because all these men who talk about logic are very hypocritical about the situations when it comes to talking to women, because it's like, now obviously it is good to talk about facts. It's great, especially science. But then you also have to understand that when someone feels a certain way, that does lead to a certain type of behavior later on in the future, especially if you force it, or especially if you're the cause of it. And I'm just trying to talk about this because men men listen to this, they hear the good parts, but they truly don't get into the parts that really need to be discussed about, like, you can't go up to a woman and just talk about logic all the time. I'm sorry, you can't. That's not how they will run. But at the same time, how a woman can't always talk about emotions 24/7. It's just not how. It's just not good.
that he has multiple mistresses?
That's up to my daughter, man. You know,
But do you want your daughter to have a guy like that long term?
if he takes care of her in every way and she has a much better life because of it, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Wait, do you want to have 100 kids? Is that like low key?
I'm gonna have if a guy decides to have a bunch of children. I mean, you see it happen all the time. Guy gets married, he's a shitty father, shitty husband, ends up getting a divorce, and then goes has babies with the next chick.
Okay, this was 4 months ago. I have to disagree with you because the statistics say that this year, 33% of men are single or have never been with a girlfriend or are virgins. 33%. Was it 80% of divorces are initiated by women, and then with all of that in the population, 33% of men from age 18 to 30, 33% of them are virgins or haven't had or any sort of interaction with a woman in the last year or a date in the last year. So you're telling me that right now a lot of men are just being bad fathers? Because that technically doesn't align with the statistics that exist. That statement doesn't truly align with how men exist. A lot of men are being thrown out of the family, are being kicked out, destroyed, and then a lot of men are also just not getting families at all. So I would say, honestly, combine the 30% plus, let's just give a good 30% of all divorces are also, let's just say, I'm trying to do the math in my head. 30% of the entire general population of America is the men. That's all our men. So what is that? 360. So 30%, like almost 100 million men haven't been with a woman or are a virgin right now. At least 100 million. Let's make that more 70 million. All right, so 70 million men are not in good relationships or haven't had a relationship or are a virgin right now. Plus the divorce rate of men initiating divorce. So that's probably another, I think, at least at that point, yeah, probably like another at least 40 million. So 120 million men. And then add so you're telling me a lot of men are being bad? No, a lot of men are just being thrown out and not giving a chance to have a good family. So I don't really agree with that. I don't agree with that. Statistics do not align with what his statement was there. But the problem is he is not acknowledging that, yes, the best family dynamic is a father, a mother, a son, and a daughter. And that is it. That is the end of the family. They keep going, obviously, for the family tree, but to have grandchildren and stuff. But that is the best family dynamic. He's saying, yeah, my daughter can go out and be with a guy who sleeps with multiple people. No, that's not a good statement to bring to your daughter. I don't have one, but I'm just saying like that. I wouldn't subscribe my child to that. I would tell them, find a good person that loves you and only you, because then you can commit it to each other and have a good family. If the laws change for marriage, who knows? We'll see how that goes. But it's just one of those things of it just doesn't truly apply like that.
Doing the same thing I'm doing, except I'm not a lying coward about it.
I hear you.
So,
I see that. I see that.
what it is.
But I think the big question is, it seems like you're really focused on self-improvement, which is awesome. And so I guess my question would be, is it ideal? Like, what are we striving towards individually, right? And what do we think is best for society? And I think kids...
See, she makes a good point. She is talking about society. Now, I really hate sociology. Psychology and sociologists, or actually, I don't think a lot of people know this, have a big attack against each other because sociology believes in a far more general behavior, while psychologists study the actual behavior people have and are, I guess, supposed to have, or how it works, while sociology is a far more like what we should do, and it's we kind of don't like each other. But with sociology comes a lot of studies of what a good state of being is when it comes to society. And she has a good point. A lot of men probably won't agree with this, but she has a good point. What is a good role model for a father in society? And that would be a father, a mother, a daughter, and a son. That right there is a good, perfect family. And to say outside of that, but no, you can be polyamorous and all this other crap. It's like, no, that does not help. That does not help society. That does not benefit or create I guess you would call it the perfect society in the end. It doesn't. That would create more problems later on, because you would then keep the idea of not polygamy, but just multiple partners going, and that is not helpful, because you cannot sustain that. To have multiple partners means you have to make more money, means you have to do a lot more things. And right now, we do not have that. Now see, that's the thing. He can do it because he probably makes a few $1,000,000. He's fine. He can have multiple families. Most people can't. Most people cannot support multiple. See, maybe that's the other reason why I don't like it. He's talking about people trying to do this who are like the top 1%. Only the top 1% can even do what he is talking about. He is not being true and genuous to the the general population of America. Most men cannot have multiple families. I'm sorry, it is not possible, because you do not financially have the ability, especially right now. So to go out and tell people, yeah, you can do this, is like, you first of all, no, you don't have the funds to do it. We're in a bad situation. This is why I don't like it, because because when they speak, they're speaking on the behalf of their level and their tax bracket. They're not talking about you, Mr. $45,000 a year. And he's still telling you, or essentially giving the idea that, yeah, it's possible for you. No, stop. I think that is why I do not like them, because they do not speak legitimately to the general population. I'm 24. I am not going to make $1,000,000 in my life, not unless I work real hard to become the CEO of my company, which I don't think ever going to happen, of the company I work for. So it's just one of those things of like, and I don't, like, again, the statistics say, like, the median income for a man, like, who's 30 to 40 is like $55,000. So for someone to come up and be like, yeah, men just have all these families, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, because you don't understand the general economic situation, financial situation for all the people that you're even talking to. And that's why I don't like when people use facts disingenuously to the actual population they're trying to apply it to. And it's the same. Okay, the way I'll say it is this: they are speaking as if everything they say applies to everyone. That is not true. The world works like psychology says it does. Psychology has one really good phenomenon that applies, I think, to the general populace that is very interesting. In psychology, the phenomenon is just, I guess you would call it, how we say, the always forever different. The reason why I just call it that, because I guess that's a good way of putting it. In psychology, when someone has a mental disorder, 10 people can have that disorder, but all 10 people can also exude or express that disorder differently. All of them can express it completely differently from each other, but they can all have the same symptoms as well. But they can all act differently with it. That is how the world works. You cannot truly apply every single thing you've learned to every single person. And it's not that you can't, but it's the fact that if you try, you will make a mistake, because everyone is different. You cannot truly use medicine A for person A, B, and C, because someone, maybe A, B, or C, might have allergic reaction. They might be different. There's the reason why there's so many different medications, is because they're created for all the different people that might not be able to handle it. That is how the world works in most things. That's why generalizing is not positively good, because it is not, you generally you can apply it, but at the same time, YouTube is YouTube. People are going to generalize a lot, but when you go outside, you can't truly go out there and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to generalize. No, you have to talk to the person, understand them, learn from them. That is my advice for the day. I just wanted to get that out there because I just don't like this this rhetoric men are coming out with that is very, I'm not going to say wrong, but it's just not applicable. It's not truly, like Adam preached, it is disingenuous to the general population. It is not truly, I guess you would say, positive for people, because it's technically a lie. To say you can have 5 families, Mr. 20-year-old, no, you can't. No one can. Not unless you're like the top 1%. If you're there and you want to do it, good for you. I don't think it's good for society, but it's up to you. Either way, guys, I hope you had a good time. I'll see you on the next one, all right? Like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's see if YouTube likes us, okay? YouTube is going down the shitter.